Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to The Last Lap. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down everything that happened from Las Vegas Motor Speedway this past weekend. All three series raced, so we're going to break down each one for you guys. But before we hop into it, just want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button and that like button. We really do appreciate it and it helps our channel grow. And as always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show. And you know what? How you doing, buddy? How are you doing today? You asked me last week after Fontana how I was doing. I'm gonna return the favor. How are you doing today after what happened in Las Vegas?
I'm not here. I'm not doing this show tonight. I'm not.
Matthew is quite upset, as you could tell, after what happened today in Las Vegas. But, you know, I had a down week last week. You had a down week this week. Hopefully we could put these behind us.
Don't even compare last week to this week. Don't even compare. It's not even the same.
Hey, I'd say they're pretty similar, you know, stuff that happened. You know, we both of our guys were in a position to win, and it didn't end up happening. So,
we were in a position where we had the race won. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, well, you guys can obviously tell how Matthew's doing based off of that response. But before we get to the big race of the day, we're going to talk about the truck and Xfinity races first. We're going to quickly recap those because, once again, we have a lot to talk about for the Cup race. So the truck race, I was coming down to the wire. There was a few laps to go. Kyle Busch and Christian Eckes were battling it out, and Christian Eckes threw a really bad block on Kyle Busch and ended up wrecking himself. That was interesting. Like when the wreck first happened, I was like, "Oh, Kyle, what are you doing?" And then I looked at the replay, and Christian Eckes just clearly came way down on front of Kyle's nose and spun himself. But that set up a restart with 3 laps to go, and it was pretty much between Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, and Chandler Smith. And Chandler Smith would get the win on the restart. That was the second straight time at Las Vegas that a KBM truck ended up beating the owner there. So that was interesting. A great way to start the weekend for Kyle Busch Motorsports, I guess. You know, I mean, Chandler Smith got the win, which is good for him. Xfinity race. There was an interesting, I don't want to call it a rivalry in this race. I guess a feud is a little bit better of a word to describe this. It was between Ty Gibbs and Ryan Sieg, of all people. So early in the race, Ty Gibbs was trying to get the air off of Ryan Sieg's car behind him, and he ended up, you know, causing Ryan Sieg to slip up the track and hit the wall. I don't think there was any contact. I think it was all just air. But Ryan Sieg was not happy, and during the rain delay, Ryan Sieg came over and talked it out with Ty Gibbs a little bit and clearly showed his frustration. You know, he was quite upset with the outcome of what happened. And they get racing again, and Ryan Sieg tries to come up and pinch Ty Gibbs against the outside wall and makes a tiny bit of contact with Ty Gibbs's left front, and he ends up spinning himself out. So Ryan Sieg was looking like Danica Patrick with the payback there, trying to get some payback on Ty Gibbs. It did not work. He ended up wrecking himself, and unfortunately other cars got involved in that too, which is not a good look. But getting down to the end of the race, there was a restart with 5 laps to go, and the main drivers involved in that were Noah Gragson, Ty Gibbs, Justin Allgaier, and Daniel Hemrick. And Ty Gibbs would go on to get the win after the controversy between himself and Ryan Sieg. So great start to the year for Ty Gibbs. I personally think he's still being a little bit too aggressive. Like, I love the kid. I love his energy and enthusiasm and how he's always, you know, praising God for the opportunity he has and all that kind of stuff. I think he just needs to tone it back just a little bit. He's a little bit too aggressive too early in these races, and he has to remember that he's racing these guys for the whole season, and Ryan Sieg still might not be happy with him later on down the road. So Ty just needs to remember that in the back of his head, that, you know, he's racing these guys for the whole season for a championship, and just needs to bring it back just a tad, because he has one of the fastest cars every week. He's going to get his way to the front. Just needs to manage it a little bit better, but great start to the season for him getting that win. So yeah, that's the Truck and Xfinity Series recap. So Matthew, what do you got to say about each of those races before we hop into the Cup race?
Well, of course, Chandler Smith won Las Vegas, which was great for him, great for Kyle Busch Motorsports. I don't know what you're trying to get into with your whole Kyle Busch comment when in reality his truck still won, so he's happy either way. Anyways, and also Christian Eckes made a very bad block and decided to take himself out, and then yeah. So if I ever see anybody blaming Kyle on that, you're just get out. Anyways, and then for the Xfinity race. That whole ordeal, Ryan Seed made himself look like an absolute fool by, Ty Gibbs just said it was his fault. He owned up to it. He said it to him during the red flag, but I guess Ryan Seed want to act like a 19-year-old, which is Ty Gibbs' age, and start wrecking people, which he absolutely failed on. And I'm glad he was parked in the garage. So glad we didn't have to hear from him a lot more of that race, and guess what? Ty Gibbs was able to win. So karma's and you know what. So it was great to see Ty Gibbs win his first race of the season. I think he's gonna win a lot more races, and I think he needs to stay aggressive. I mean, it's obviously working for him. He's winning races that way. So why not? Don't change anything that would affect his winning percentage.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that Ty Gibbs needs to, not be aggressive at all. I think he just needs to tone it back just a little bit, and, patience is a virtue in these Xfinity races. I mean, they're not long races by any means, but, just methodically work his way through the field, and I think he'll be fine. But we're going to move on to the Cup Series race now, and I was a little bit wrong. I kind of predicted that we wouldn't see as many incidents as we did last week at Fontana, but we did. I don't know the exact number of cautions, but there were quite a few cautions for mostly single car spins once again. So just to hop into the recap of the race, there was a competition caution on lap 30. I'm not really sure why. I don't think there was any rain the previous night. Maybe it was just...
It's because of the next gen cars with these new tires. They gotta check on the wear. That's what they said.
Yeah, but I'm like, I don't think they did it at Fontana. I don't think they did. So I don't.
Yes, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay.
They did at Fontana.
Okay. Well, I guess they did do it. So, yeah, just a little bit weird, but okay, cool. Competition caution. I'm gonna try to go through as many of these incidents without taking up too much time. So Cole Custer spun, and then later in stage 1, Dylan gets into Justin Haley, and that caused him to spin, and then Daniel Hemrick was trying to slow down. He bumped into Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch went sideways.
Trying to slow down is an understatement.
No major damage there for anybody. But yeah, that was quite an interesting start to stage 1. Tyler Reddick, he spun out on the front stretch. Stage 1 went to Alex Bowman and William Byron. 1-2 finish for Hendrick Motorsports right there. Daniel Suarez got into an incident. Brad Keselowski spun, and Ryan Blaney had nowhere to go and ran right into him, unfortunately. Tough ending to Ryan Blaney's day. But Brad Keselowski spun once again on his own. He did it last week at Fontana, and he does it again this week at Las Vegas, which, we want to see the veteran drivers struggle, and they did. Brad Keselowski spinning 2 weeks in a row. Green flag pit stops, first time we had those this season. Kyle Busch will come. Oh wait, didn't finish stage 2. I'm sorry. Ross Chastain won stage 2, and it was another. Ross Chastain was kind of like Tyler Reddick last week, one of those drivers we didn't expect to be at the front, and he won stage 2. He was leading a lot of laps. Seemed like he had one of, if not the best cars today. So really good to see Ross Chastain up there. Another driver we usually don't see at the front of the field. In stage 3, it went mostly green for the opening half or 3/4 of the stage. There were green flag pit stops. Kyle Busch came out on top over Ross Chastain. It was mainly those two battling it out in stage 3. And then in the middle of almost at the end of green flag pit stops, Denny Hamlin spun out, and he tried to get going and somehow, missed a gear. I'm not really sure how you do that with these sequential shifters now, where you just go back and forth instead of having to do like the H pattern. I guess he just got confused and made a mental mistake. But that brought out a caution. That would lead up to a restart with 41 laps to go, and from then on it went pretty green flag the most of the time. Kyle Busch hopped out to the lead, and Martin Truex Jr. was second, and Truex was slowly but surely catching Kyle Busch, and it got to the point with about 20 laps to go where they were back and forth for a really big stretch of time. Kyle Busch would go up on the high side. He would not let Martin Truex Jr. run that high line, so Truex would get, almost by Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch would fly right back past him on the high side. The wonders of this new 670 horsepower package. Seeing both of those cars go high and low, crossing over each other, getting runs off the corner. I absolutely loved that battle. It was a really good battle. But things get interesting with either 2 or 3 laps to go. Eric Jones loses his car off turn 4, hits the outside wall. He comes down to the apron, but then he catches the grass and spins his car back to the right onto the racetrack. And Bubba Wallace, he avoided Eric Jones by I don't even know how much. It was such a narrow gap of how Bubba Wallace swerved his car to the left to avoid Eric Jones. But he did so, and in doing that, he ended up hitting the inside wall of the tire barrier and ending his day. So that was quite unfortunate for Bubba there. Tough break for him. I think NASCAR should have thrown the caution sooner. I think they were trying to see if Eric Jones would get off the track, but he hit the wall really hard, so I think that should have brought out a caution immediately, in my opinion, and that could have saved Bubba Wallace from having to swerve out of the way and wreck his race car. So a little bit of a poor judgment call on NASCAR's part. I could see why they wanted to try and let it go green to the end, but I think they should have thrown the caution immediately, and that could have saved Bubba Wallace from wrecking his car. But I'm surprised everybody pitted under that caution. It was going to be a green-white checker, but everybody's like, nope, let's come down pit road. So everybody on the lead lap pitted. The 3 of the Hendrick Motorsports cars took 2 tires. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, and William Byron. All 3 of them took 2 tires. And then Kyle Busch came out 4th on pit road. He took 4 tires. So coming to the restart, it was Alex Bowman on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside, Kyle Busch on the inside, William Byron on the outside for the first 4. And this was a heck of a green-white checker restart between Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman. The 2 of them were side by side almost the entire time. And Alex Bowman steals another win and gets it at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That restart was intense. That was props to Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson for how they raced on that restart, because Kyle Larson pinched Alex Bowman so hard in turns 3 and 4 coming to the checkered flag, and neither of them wrecked. So I think Rick Hendrick is a little bit happier this week with how all of that turned out. But yeah, Alex Bowman gets the win, his first of this season. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for Kyle Busch fans because obviously Kyle Busch was in front, and I don't think Truex would have gotten there. It was pretty hard for Truex to pass Kyle Busch once he caught him, which will be interesting to see in the future as well in late race situations to see if people will be able to pass late in the race. But yeah, definitely feel bad for Kyle Busch fans, especially you. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Great racing overall. Kyle Busch, you have to give props to him because he wrecked his car in practice, had to start in the back, went through 2, 3, 4, several issues throughout the day, including a tiny little dust up with Chase Briscoe during the race. So props to Kyle Busch for persevering and sticking through it and coming away with still with a top 5 finish. So yeah, that's the race recap, and time to get the man of the hour's opinions on the race recap. So Matthew, what you got to tell for us?
Well, the race overall, besides that part I'll get to, it was great. Just like Auto Club, this was another amazing race with a great side-by-side racing, amazing battles, great runs that you get off the turns. No more of that 550 trash, which it's funny how Clint Boyer in the booth, even Christopher Bell after he won the pole, was basically trashing that package. Basically, it was a sign of then begging NASCAR to never go back to that ever again, which I don't blame them because we've seen way better racing. So do not go back to that. Anyways, it was a great race overall. There wasn't really we couldn't really tell which were the favorites. Like 1 point Kyle Larson looked like he was gonna be the favorite. 1 point Christopher Bell. 1 point Mark Truex, Kyle Busch. Even Ross Chastain, who led a lot of laps today, which was a big surprise for Trackhouse, which was great to see, which is part of this next-gen car. I don't think with the old car, I don't think Ross Chastain is leading that many laps up there at 1.5 miles. No way. But it's great to see that. We didn't see a lot of cars getting stuck for this race. I guess the only ones that quote-unquote got stuck where the cars are already destroyed and were out of the race. So I guess that's a little bit of improvement. They didn't really change anything, but I guess it just got a little bit better at make sure the tires don't get flat when you spin. So that's great to see. I really thought Mark Truex at the end had the fastest car until Kyle was able to basically find the higher line, keep the higher line going, and then Mark Truex started to fade. I thought that was our race. I thought it was it, until somebody just can't control their car for one lap. So there you go. It's yeah. I thought NASCAR would still go green as long as Eric Jones was able to keep it on the apron, because I didn't think it was bringing out that much debris, but he came back on the track, and that's when the caution came out. So that basically ruined everything. And I knew after the pits we're done, because they took 2 tires, and the 300 cars took 2 tires, and yeah, that's what happened. I mean, it was a great finish, at least with teammates. I mean, they're not gonna be rough on one another. I mean, they just roughed up one another last week. I don't think they won 2 weeks in a row with that, but it was great to see a great finish still. But it seems like Alex Bowman just always comes out of nowhere for these wins, like Pocono last year, Martinsville last year. I mean, even Richmond last year when Mark Truex had a dominant car. He just always comes out of nowhere for these wins. We might as well start calling Bowman the closer, since Kevin Harvick's not really up there that much anymore, it seems like. But other than that, it was a great race, besides that one part that just ruined my whole day. So that's all I'm going to say. And yeah, I can't wait to see how Phoenix is going to be next weekend, with how good Vegas was and how good Auto Club was.
Yeah, I was actually going to say something similar to what you said about Alex Bowman and Kevin Harvick. Alex Bowman, we might as well call him the closer now, because last year and this year he's found himself in the right position in late race situations and has been able to capitalize and be able to get some wins. So Alex Bowman might be the new closer in town. Kevin Harvick better watch out. But yeah, it was a great race overall. I'm trying to think of anything else to add. I think it met expectations and probably exceeded them. This was the first 1.5 miles of the year, which is a little bit different from last week at Auto Club, because we're going to be seeing a bunch of 1.5 mile races this year. And I mean, if they're all like this, I wouldn't complain. So definitely a testament to NASCAR, the next gen car, their package,
especially
all that kind of stuff. So
especially for the Coca-Cola 600, I can't wait to see how that race goes. If the race was this good, Las Vegas, it's with the longest race of the year.
Yeah.
How long will everyone be able to survive that race?
Yeah, we might. The Coke 600 is a few months away, so hopefully, NASCAR can fix the tiny little tweaks that need to be done with the next gen car. Speaking of which, I don't think there was one car that needed to be towed away just from spinning out today, so that was a plus. At least I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think there was, so that was good to see that. Maybe they did do something to the tires. I don't know. There wasn't anything specifically addressed, or maybe the drivers just adapted to it or something. So that was good to see that problem was pretty much not an issue today. But let me go over the top 10 really quick, and then we'll go over our ratings and all that stuff before we finish this episode out. So, top 10, Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson finishing 1-2. Ross Chastain third, great run for him. Kyle Busch finishing fourth, great comeback for him all weekend long, despite the late caution there at the end. William Byron finished fifth. Eric Almirola sixth. He crept his way into the top 10 again. His third straight top 10 finish to start the year. I don't know where he's coming from. He's just, finding himself in the right spot at the end of these races and getting top 10. So props to Eric Almirola for getting his third straight top 10 of the season. Tyler Reddick finished seventh after spinning out. Great comeback for him. Martin Truex Jr. 8th, Chase Elliott 9th, and Christopher Bell rounds out the top 10. So that is the top 10 for the Cup Series race at Las Vegas. And we're going to hop straight into rating the race. I'm trying to remember what I rated last week at Fontana, because I feel like this race was pretty much the same, if not a little bit better. I think I gave Fontana either a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. So I'll bump it up just a little bit, and I'll go between like 7.5 and 8, because I think this race was just a little bit better than last week at Fontana, especially because of that restart at the end between those Hendrick teammates. So, great racing overall. The package worked phenomenal. I loved that battle between Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. late in the race, was seeing how they could, move up and down the racetrack and all that kind of stuff. So I'll give this race, around a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, just a little bit better than the race last week at Fontana. So, Matthew, what are you going to go ahead and rate this race?
I'll give it a 8 out of 10 as well. I think it was a great race. I can't decide if it was better than Auto Club. I'm not sure, but it was a great race overall, great finish. And I can't wait to see how Phoenix does next week, which was a track that hadn't, over the past few years of the Gen 6 car, hasn't really produced the best racing. So I can't wait to see how they do at that track.
Yeah, there's a lot of good tracks coming up on the schedule in this next couple months. So definitely exciting to see how the next gen car performs at all these new racetracks for it. But hopping into our fantasy update very quickly. So for today's race, you got 143 points and I got 192 points. Shout out to our friend Noah. He got the most points out of all of us today. I think he got in the low 200s. So shout out to him for getting the most points out of us today. But that'll bump our actual scores, I believe, to 457 for you and 585 for me. Obviously, it's a long way to go, and like a good day, quote unquote, in NASCAR fantasy is probably around 200 points or so. So a lot can happen during this regular season for the fantasy thing. So that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for that. Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and end the episode? Just pain.
Not really.
Pain, just pain.
Are you done? Are you done? Because we had that race won. Okay.
Do you want me to give you Eric Jones's phone number? I mean, I think you might want to call him and give him a little chat. Maybe you guys can hang out sometime.
I think him and Kyle need to meet up, and Kyle can teach him how to keep a car straight from one lap. That'd be a good idea.
All right. Well, you guys know we have to tease each other a little bit on the show. He did it to me last week. I'm just returning the favor. It's all love. But that's going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Lots of good signs for the next-gen car so far this season, and we're only getting started. We're 3 weeks into the 2022 season. A long way to go. Looking forward to bringing you guys more videos throughout the season, recapping and previewing all these races. Stay tuned to our social media accounts for future updates. But until next time, we will see you guys in our next video.